All right, you've been waiting for this with all respect. 41 days to the election, and the bags of promises are coming in thick and fast. Tonight, Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua are condemning their main opponent, William Ruto, for speaking in both sides of the mouth. They're asking him to either resign from government or take collective responsibility. We have analysis of what this election is about with Senior Counsel Ahmednasir Abdullahi. Karibu sana. We've heard what she had to say earlier on, and political scientist Professor Adams. Let's start with you, Professor, because Ahmednasir had first got it. Tonight, this conversation that Azimio candidate Raila Odinga and running mate Martha Karua are having, what did you make of it? What was the whole point of this?
Well, I think that one I should ask you media stations, but the fact that you had Prime Minister Raila Odinga and Martha Karua, if I go by the questions that they were being asked about the race generally. They were being asked about their manifesto. They were being asked about the day-to-day happening concerns that Kenyans have. And I think, from where I sit, they did a perfect job.
They did a wonderful job. Ahmednasir, maybe you had the benefit of what he said. I would say that the Azimio manifesto has holes, and in his analysis that this is what was happening this evening, that the campaigners realized that there is no plan on how to do some of these things, and just trying to now feel that. From where you sit, is that correct?
Unless somebody doesn't understand what a manifesto is all about, then they can say that. First, let me say what the manifesto does. It has three components plus what it calls enablers. It has the component on economic revolution, it has the component on social transformation, and it has the component on governance, those being the three pillars. James Smart, anybody who goes to where even the term manifesto came from the Communist Manifesto of Karl Marx, it's a statement of intent. And if you go to the history of this country, KANU had a manifesto which was then translated into sessional paper number 10 of 1965. I'll just give you a few examples. NAC had a manifesto which was then translated into the economic recovery and strategy document. Jubilee had a manifesto, and those who have been there know, which was then translated into the Big Four agenda. So I don't know where the holes are, and unless somebody tells me.
Yeah, Ahmednasir, you brought this up first, so let's get into it now. Where are the holes in this manifesto from where you see?
I think I don't have to explain, but I think it's obvious considering the range of things that the candidate and his running mate addressed, and the various items they sort of refreshed. But I think, we don't have to go to the history of manifesto. I think it's quite obvious that we have two political parties that are running during this election and have taken two different approaches. We have the deputy president and his running mate, who have almost visited 47 counties in this country, sat with the people in those 47 counties and asked them what their needs were, whether it is political issues, whether it's economic or social issues, synthesized those, and have given to the experts, to write. Other side, we have the, former Prime Minister and his running mate, who have done, a desktop job. People just wrote, a typical manifesto, as he said, where people just, drafted those three pillars. And I think it's, in my view, it's a realization of the lacunas and the inadequacies of that compelled the former Prime Minister and his running mate to have one final shot before the Deputy Prime Minister, in complete contrast of what Raila has shown, to at least have a say, so that even when the Deputy Prime Minister and his team are launching, at least people can remember that the manifesto they shared with Kenyans, which I think even Prof will agree with me, has left zero impression on Kenyans. And that is why today I think they are rehashing what they think are the main issues of that manifesto. I think it's a damage control in my view.
Prof, would you accept that as a statement of intent?
Well, look, You've asked senior counsel a very pertinent question, because you did indicate that before I arrived here, he said that there are holes. And you have asked him to tell you those holes. You have said he's shying away. He's not telling you those holes because there are no holes. Let me give you, for example, what the Prime Minister said today and Martha Karua, and you'll find it in that manifesto. For example, if you go to how they are going to address the issues that touch 1 inch, which is the economy, for example. They are basically saying, and it's in that manifesto, that through the social protection of 6,000, we are trying to do what countries of the world have done, which is to have a universal basic income. And he even gave the examples of the countries. He gave the example of the UK. He gave the example of Brazil. He gave the example of right here in Africa, Namibia. Go to the small-scale traders that he talked about, the SMEs and the Juakali sector. He stated that in this country today, James Mart, if you go along Ngong Road, if you go along River Road, you'll find these carpenters, you'll find these welders, you'll find these Juakali artisans. But when it comes to getting a tender from government, they cannot get a tender from government. Why? Because James Mart, who has a degree, who has a certificate, will go and get that tender. Where will James Mart go and get the goods? It will be from River Road, it will be from Jogo Road, it will be from, so these are brokerages. Right there in the manifesto, he's talked about the recognition of prior learning. Why do you need this recognition for prior learning? So that these people have a certificate, so that they too can go directly to the government. The lowly people can go directly to the government and get this tender. Now, why would you need them to get this recognition for prior learning? Because even if you were to try and take these people from their trade for 2 weeks, for 1 month, they would go hungry.
Yeah,
and that is there. I'm just trying to tell you that what he's talking about is there. Lastly, allow me, so that he said that they are going to every county. Azimio long done did that in the lead-up to the unveiling of the candidate on December 9th. 11 parts of the country, and you saw in the videos of that day, the media were there being played on what the peoples of each region were saying we want, and that's what went into the manifesto.